Um, this is not going to be a chess stream, so just letting you guys know, letting everybody know in advance. I have some games on that you can watch, but I'm not playing any chess. So I appreciate the subs and the bits. Can call them, maybe I'll call them out at the end, but it's not really the situation. There's some audio feedback. Noise gate, and then you hear that. Okay. Maybe you can put on a very low. Hello, Mattis. Yeah, so there's a few things I'm here to talk. So saying it up front, don't expect any chess, and it's a serious discussion. So at least for me. Yeah, so I'm not going to be addressing the chat right now or anything like that. I have some things I need to say. And yeah, we just got back from a weekend trip. But yeah, there's a few things I want to address today in regards to Chessbrah and Hikaru. The past week, what's going on there, the past, and then discussing how to move forward. Needless to say, like things are, let's say, there's some things I have to get off my chest. And I just waited to come back over the weekend to discuss it. So I want to start off with why are we here? It's because, last Wednesday, we had 2 strikes at that point. I withdrew from the Bullet Chess Championships. And then, while I was dealing with that, Hikaru and Chessbrah prepared, some statements saying I was lying. Hikaru was flaming me and using that, and over time I wanted to say that a lot of people have spoken out after I spoke out, and it's been really nice to hear. People from the community, people who are afraid to speak up, and just a lot of other players and viewers. But the reason we're here, how things started off, is that was all a lie, of course. The strike was not random. It wasn't done by the multi-channel network. Hikaru was lying, Chessbrah was lying, and I'm glad that an investigation was done outside of us to confirm that. I think what's really scary about everything is that they tried to frame it on me, and they actually got a lot of people to believe them, through manipulating, free speech and getting different mods sent out to confirm it. And this was not a case where I was just trying to start drama. I was just trying to protect the channel. And I think that's something that's a little bit lost right now. That it's not just like, it never has been about somebody getting salty after a chess game. If it was just that, I get salty sometimes. That's not the end of the world. You can fix it, but it goes a lot deeper than that. And so Wednesday, I dropped out of the championships. I didn't stream. I withdrew from Title Tuesday, and I dealt with the channel. We were at 2 strikes, and meanwhile, Hikaru was streaming and feeding everybody along with Chessbrah just lies, just over and over, repeatedly. As you can see now, their VOD was deleted from Wednesday, and on Wednesday we were still investigating, and I'm just still trying to protect things. I just couldn't play Bullet. And then Thursday comes, and Hikaru streams, and he once again feeds a bunch of blatant lies about who the strike came from and the intent, and uses it to, I guess, flame me instead of dealing with the topic. And this is all before I've said anything. So I ended up sort of streaming on Thursday to share my perspective that had been building up for a long time. I wish I could say that this was like one of the worst things that's occurred, but it's not, and it took me a lot to I guess, start to speak out. And then since then, a few days have gone by, some other people have shared their experiences, and I feel like things have been, we've made a lot of progress, and I'm feeling a lot better in terms of sharing more to the story. I gotta turn this off. Oops, sorry. And so after Thursday, I haven't streamed since then. I mean, I did my stream, Wednesday, Thursday, we went out for the weekend, but other people have spoken out. I want to say I really appreciate that. And then I want to add some context. So, first what happened is, with the strike, it wasn't just it wasn't random, and it was actually premeditated. And so one of the weird, crazy things about this is it was planned from a few weeks out. Removing our videos, the dual camera. Unfortunately, they made some mistakes, and it came out. It wasn't a random strike, and it was premeditated. And while all this was happening, Hikaru and Chessbrah were controlling the narrative, and even a few weeks ago, Chessbrah donated a couple $1,000s to our channel while she was trying to plan this. And it's like, you have to understand, it's a very confusing thing happening behind the scenes. That on one hand, they're telling their audience that they're inviting them on to Joker's Gambit, Chessbrah's coming in and donating, and actually they're planning to strike our channel and then tell everybody it was random, and then blame it on me for being toxic, and that nobody can disprove it because they have the viewership, they have the leverage. And so I'm glad that some people have started to speak up, and now there's been further work and investigation into what's happening. But the whole thing is very, very confusing. It's almost like a movie or something, like a spy movie. But then I want to give people a bit of history in terms of why I feel so strongly about what's happening and why I'm not okay with the current situation and what's led to the build-up with both Chessbrah and Hikaru. So I said in my Wednesday stream that there was a period for a year to 2 years that Chessbrah was manipulating the chess.com raids and hosts, and she was trying to essentially poach donors, just going around and telling viewers, donors of ours, things about us to encourage us, encourage them not to support us and go to other channels. So the "don't support these guys" meme on YouTube, unfortunately, does apply in certain cases where Chessbrah was doing that. And then in 2019, I went to San Francisco, and I told chess.com, and they did some, there is some evidence. One thing that's very hard in all this to describe to you guys is we're dealing with somebody anonymous who's working behind the scenes. And so, there's a couple years where, maybe our viewership, our business is just being hit, and we're trying to complain, but things didn't work out. Even though at the time, chess.com told me they would try to fix it or make it better. In the end, they tried to make everybody happy, and you don't get the good without the bad. And a lot of people don't see the bad because they see the good that Chessbrah is doing, and And so they choose to ignore it, or they refuse to believe it, or I'm not sure. But it's one of those situations where, you know, people are acting in their own self-interest. And I was speaking out because we were personally affected, but from a lot of other people's perspective, they maybe couldn't understand how I was feeling or how we were feeling because it wasn't happening to them. So we have this history where Chessbrah behind the scenes is messing with the business while helping other channels, and I'm trying to, like, without complaining too much, get chess.com to deal with it, because I understand, you know, that she's also helping channels 100%. And then it brings us to this situation where in the last year and a half, some of you guys might know, some of you guys maybe didn't know, you know, I have a history with Alexandra Botez, and we were seeing each other off and on, and there's streams, and, you know, people can take a look at things like that. And we've had our arguments about Chessbrah, because Chessbrah was a big supporter of Alexandra's stream, and at the same time I was telling Alexandra, Chessbrah is like hurting our business, and she's being very malicious behind the scenes. And at the time, until you see it happen, it's hard to believe. It sounds like I'm a conspiracist or like saying crazy things. This anonymous lady who donated $50,000 maybe to us is poaching, is manipulating, is cannibalizing our viewership. And so this was a point of arguments for a long time, and it was just a weird aspect. But once we started seeing each other a bit more, it became clear and communicated to Alexandra that if she was visiting me, she would lose support. If she was seen with me or hanging out with me or streaming with me, that it was not approved at all by Chessbrah. So about end of 2019, early 2020, sometimes when Alexandra and I would mid 2019, we would pretend, if we were visiting each other, we would try to make the room look different so that she wanted to visit me, but she didn't want to get in trouble with Chessbrah. So we would conceal the fact that we were in the same city by either looking at trying to get different apartments in the same place, or decorating, or she would stream from a different room and we would decorate it and make it look like she was somewhere else. And this was a thing that I wasn't, at the time, I understood, I helped her, I understood why she would be afraid. And we did that. We had to deal with that thought, whether she was in Montreal or Calgary or I was in New York, that it was clear that she wasn't there to visit me. And so this has always been a point of contention between us, because a couple of years ago I cut off contact with Chessbrah because I couldn't deal with it, but most people didn't want to because there were a lot of benefits. And so then fast forward, so this has been going on for a while, and then you fast forward to 2020, May, 11 months ago, and chess is blowing up. Hikaru is getting really popular, Chessbrah is getting very popular, and I have a very inappropriate drunk stream. Full stop, that I have to, you know, apologize, atone for, and, you know, just deal with that. And at the time, if you guys don't know, Alexandra was here right before that. She was here in April. We were visiting each other. We have streams on YouTube. You might have seen the proposal one or the foot one, whatever. Things are pretty good between us. And in May 2020, Hikaru started getting quite popular, and they started dealing with PogChamps. And then things come full circle, so I'm laying low. I have to take it easy, sober up, and deal with what I have to deal. Alexandra's back home for a bit because of COVID, and it's like, hey, you know, we want to see each other again. And Chessbrah tells Alexandra directly, if you see Eric, if you visit Eric, you'll be cut off from all PogChamps and all raids and hosts, explicitly. If you visit Eric at any point, you're going to be cut off from all raids, all hosts, and PogChamps. And this is something I've kept bottled up, and a lot of people ask, why did we stop collaborating, or what happened, and I haven't answered. I've been bottling this in for a very long time. Because people on Reddit, people on the internet, we were doing a bunch of streams, we obviously have history, and all of a sudden they stopped. And what happened is, Alexandra was very concerned because her channel was growing, and she was trying to balance her career and growth and, you know, what she works towards. And then you have my perspective, where when I saw that when she was given that ultimatum, that she wasn't like immediately on my side, I got upset. That was a point of friction between us, because in my eyes, I'm just like, I'm furious. I'm like, how can people cross the line into our personal lives and do something like that? And if they do that, wouldn't you try to defend me there or still support? But in Alexandra's shoes, she's not a confrontational person. She's trying to balance everything, where she, you know, lays low for a bit, and then eventually she can see me, but she's trying to grow her own channel, and Hikaru raids are worth 40,000 viewers. PogChamps was a big project, and Hikaru and Chessbrah were calling all the shots. And so we strongly disagreed over that, and I acted probably emotionally. I got very upset because I thought, and I still don't know how to address this. We're on better terms, but it's like, things were going well, we were seeing each other, and you put that situation in, and it's so fucked up. And this is a build-up, because we already had a year and a half where we were trying to conceal sometimes the fact that, because of what Chessbrah would say or do. And as I said, I got very upset at Alexandra because I thought it was obvious what the solution was, but she was trying to balance it, and she's not as confrontational. And, you know, we didn't see eye to eye there, and it really drove us. It was the start of driving us apart, because if you see what happened, I mean, she wants to still, you know, see me, but she worked hard on her channel, and even to this day, I don't think we see fully eye to eye, but we were put in a very tough situation that I don't think you should ever be in. I don't think people should ever have that situation on Twitch, and that Chessbrah and Hikaru are leveraging their viewership, and it's like, you know, you put yourself in my shoes. I had just gotten drunk on stream. I'm not trying to attract more attention to myself, and I'm just trying to, you know, I'm not trying to like go all public. And, you know, I did tell a chess.com executive, one individual, about this exact thing, and nothing really happened. And so, you know, even reflecting now, I can't give you a very good answer on what should have happened. I can't put myself fully in Alexandra's shoes, and I think she can't put herself fully in mine, because I have a very strong anger towards what's been happening to our channel and to my personal life for a long time. And so I'm just more emotional about this, where it's like, how could you possibly pick over me? That's just how I reacted, and and I have my, I have my temperament, and so you have that situation where Chessbrah is explicitly threatening, hey, you're cut off from everything to Alexandra if you're visiting Eric. And she's like, trying to find a middle ground, but I get upset and we start to, distance ourselves because I don't know how to, the whole situation is extremely fucked up. And I just always think like, I stood up against Chessbrah a few years ago, but you see now that a lot of people have a very hard time doing that because of the power that her and Hikaru were leveraging. With raids, with viewership, with collaborations, who's picking PogChamps? It's not just chess.com, it's Hikaru and Chessbrah. And and so this is a backdrop to something I've kept bottled in for a long time. People ask all the time, why did you guys stop collaborating? Did Alexandra cancel her channel? No, she didn't do that. We had a very big disagreement because of the situation we were put in. And I haven't seen her since then, even though we're starting to chat a little bit, but that incident and that whole position we're put in was, I don't know how to describe it. It crosses all the lines for me. All the personal lines have been crossed, but I wasn't in a position. I told a few people, couldn't do much. And as that's happening, they're only gaining more power, leveraging more things, so that it's even harder to speak out. And since 2018, I'm not perfect, but I've been trying to battle this because, hey, I'm not trying to ruin relationships behind the scenes or control raids or hosts. I've never done anything of the sort. And so even though here I'm like maybe sticking up for myself, it applies to other people, I would hope. But a lot of people were obviously very afraid of the repercussions. And this is career-changing stuff. But last year in April, May, June, chess exploded. And so this is a bit of the history that I really had to speak about, because nobody was able to, what am I doing with chess.com? Hikaru Chessbrah, and then Alexander's in a tough spot. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And so you have that history, which I'm still dealing with it now, but I really can't deal with the malice or what's happening behind the scenes. And it almost sounds unbelievable, but this is the reality, this is the experience, and this is why, you didn't see us collaborating, and why, what started to deteriorate our relations. And so then you look at that time period and you see what's happened since then is, Hikaru and Chessbrah have only gained more power. They tried to manipulate the entire narrative here and call me the liar, me the bad guy. What triggered me to speak out was Hikaru when he asked about the copyright strike. He deleted the VOD. He didn't just ignore it or deflect it. He said, Eric said bad things about Alexandra. He's a bad guy. He has an alcohol problem. So the people who are framing this strike on me and also trying to mess up my personal life are now dangling in front of me. And Hikaru has the audacity to talk about Alexandra and I like that when they were leveraging raids and hosts and everything to separate things. And so that really pissed me, not only are you guys just lying about everything about the strike, you're turning that into a personal attack when you've been involving yourselves in my personal life. And so that's what set me off on Wednesday in particular. And so even right now, am I happy with what's happening? No, I have a lot of things to say. And so that was something some people know, but I haven't shared with almost anybody, that these ultimatums, these threats were happening behind the scenes. And so, you know, now you take a look at last week. Chessbrah strikes our channel, lies about it. She tells everybody to lie about it, all her mods. Hikaru, how does he react? He calls me a liar, he insults me, he deletes the VOD, and then the next day he does the same thing. He even starts saying, if I couldn't handle criticism better, if I wasn't like as mentally weak, I would suicide. When people were calling him out on the hypocrisy, he tried to use suicide as a weapon. All this while these guys know that they've been messing with my life behind the scenes. All this under the hashtag of grow the game. And if it was just a situation of people behaving badly after a loss, that would be one thing. But Hikaru has tried to get our sponsorships canceled, our opportunities. When people say, hey, why weren't you guys in any events last year? I can't really say it's chess.com. I have a good relationship with Danny, but they ended up in a situation where Hikaru and Chessbrah had a lot of power. And so they were calling all the shots. So why wasn't Amon, or because Hikaru explicitly said no. And there's been multiple situations where Hikaru not just gets upset, he tries to get people canceled. He tries to get their sponsorships canceled, their opportunities taken away if you're on the wrong side. Him and Chessbrah have been gaslighting people, lying almost just about everything, and leveraging what is happening to fit their narrative. And then they tell all their mods, and they have like 30 channels that they're giving raids and hosts and collaborations to. Now the mods spread what Chessbrah is doing, and maybe a lot of those mods literally don't know any better, but they're, you know, removing comments that disagree and you know, saying grow the game while trying to ruin like personal lives. And so you have this situation where some people are asking, did Hikaru know about Chessbrah? This Chessbrah thing is not new. She's been controversial, whether you think she's good or bad. There's no hands-off situation. And Hikaru, in his own position, has tried to get prominent members of the chess community canceled through his name and push them away from coaching, collaborations, or sponsorships. He's not just somebody who gets salty after a loss and just that's it. And then you add Chessbrah to the equation, and you have somebody who can manipulate the narrative to make them always look like the good guys, while behind the scenes they're fucking with everybody and they're playing everybody. And so where we are right now, and I want to clarify, I'm speaking just for myself, just entirely for myself. People have their different experiences. I appreciate some people have spoken up, but it's affected my personal life, it's affected business for years, and I've been in situations where I felt helpless because who's calling the shots? You let the beast grow so big with Chessbrah and Hikaru. There's your product. And so here, let me see. I gotta keep track of what I'm talking about. So it's not what we have right now is a situation where I don't think I can ever coexist with Chessbrah and Twitch Chess. Myself and Chessbrah, for the personal life manipulation and then also the business side, there's nothing like that works. It's gone way too far, and it only only recently I've been able to speak out about it. We built a very like nice viewership. We're working really hard, and then some people have spoken out in some events have come out. I'm really appreciative of other people speaking out where I feel comfortable talking about this. If I get canceled or I lose my whatever chess.com membership, Hikaru tries to do that again. Whatever. In that aspect, chess.com, I would say, stood by my side in a lot of areas. At the same time, we wouldn't be in this situation if there were more checks and balances in terms of who was organizing events, who was calling the shots earlier. But even in chess.com's perspective, it's very hard to track ChessBay. You have an anonymous person controlling so much. It's a very weird situation all in all. But it's, I'm not trying to do a blame game here, I think they were trying to act in good faith, but there was no middle ground because it was zero sum. It was that some people were benefiting in 2020 during the chess boom while other people were not. And it wasn't because chess.com is doing that. It's like, no, the people in charge are not acting in whatever grow the game. They're only benefiting people that bend the knee. And if you don't bend the knee, Hikaru or ChessBay will try to get you canceled, whether it's business opportunities, again, sponsorships, or your personal life. And so, at a certain point, I have to speak out, and I'm not speaking for everybody. This is for myself, but I've had enough. I've really had enough. The personal line was crossed, and I just wasn't in a good situation, and nobody was helping me when I tried. But there's really no situation, and then you have the Hikaru narrative. Calls me a liar. Then he says ChessBay's taking reduced rule, and until more and more people spoke out, he wasn't doing anything. And even now, who knows what the situation is? But he has benefited greatly by this type of slash and burn, scorched earth type of behavior. So it's not in his interest to get rid of ChessBay, because every time he had a problem with ChessBay, with somebody, ChessBay would be his attack dog. So it's only, the narrative has changed a lot, where you have and they deleted all the VODs. So people are like looking at these apologies and things. For us to get here, imagine if I didn't speak out. It would only be a worse issue, and it's like, how do we get to this stage? And it's like, and then so moving forward, I'm not feel like I'm missing things. My life's been messed around with for the last few years, personally and business-wise. We're talking about raids, hosts, lost viewership, revenue, opportunities, and it's, I don't know how to really approach that. But I have to share my story. And then what I wanted to bring up is, I don't know what the situation with ChessBay is. There is no, as I said, I do not see any situation where I can coexist on Twitch Chess with ChessBay and what she does behind the scenes. She crossed many lines, and I don't care about the good things that happen. Like, we're just doing our own thing, and again, still fucking with us, even unprovoked. And so, is what's happening right now, is the drama over? No, it's not over. I have to speak out more, because it's not something that after years of happening that just gets swept aside. You have Hikaru, just what everyone's done is put everything on ChessBay, which as I said, I personally just can't deal with her anymore and what she's done in my personal life and business life. But you've had a lot of people that have enabled this and have benefited from this. And this is something I didn't speak about when people were asking in the last year, like, hey, why didn't you guys grow as much? Or why didn't you guys collaborate? Why didn't you guys partake in this? And it wasn't the whole time that chess.com was against us in terms of like Danny or something. It's other people, and in a lot of cases it's Hikaru and Chessbrah that are controlling the entire free speech and narrative and a lot of the decisions, events like PogChamps, where it's like Hikaru will be like, hey, I don't want that guy in the event, or hey, I want that guy suspended or out of the company. And it makes it really hard to even discuss this because Chessbrah is anonymous, and then Hikaru is growing the game and leveraging that. So I don't see, it's not very easy for me to discuss reconciliation with Chessbrah. She crossed some lines that I don't think should ever be crossed. It went on for a long time. And it was never in good faith. But then when you discuss Hikaru, I can bring out, he's been lying repeatedly like a compulsive liar in front of Twitch and enabled by Chessbrah and his channels to do so. And until there's some accountability on his end, that A, he's really lying all the time about what's happening. B, he's not just toxic after he loses. He set out to get people to lose their jobs and sponsorships when they didn't agree. Him and Chessbrah were gaslighting people, manipulating people, and not, it wasn't just the case that, oh, I apologize. And a lot of things have been swept under the rug, and people have just been afraid to speak out. So it's not if I'm gonna bring up this tweet, or I don't know, like watch a video or something, it's like right here.
Have a conversation. There are no
So he's been saying that all week. I've never received a message from Hikaru and Chessbrah. They told everybody they were messaging me. And he's still lying, even, I think that's from today. It's like, he can message me on Twitter. He was blocking Ben, or somebody blocked each other. My Twitter DMs have always been open. He has my direct email, because I've known Hikaru for a long time, we've emailed each other. He has my direct Facebook Messenger. The conversation's open, he can message me there. We're in the same Slack. He's never tried messaging me. He has all the means to, and he even admitted there, he messaged Ben on Twitter. You guys have messaged me on Twitter. My Twitter DMs have always been open. He's just, everything he says is almost a lie. And then you look at the apology and it's like, I can't take this stuff seriously. He's been a compulsive liar about what's actually happening for so long. And he's been getting away with it because of his mods and damage control. And we have a situation where, of course, people want to blame Chessbrah for everything because Hikaru is good for the game or has viewers, and Chessbrah is anonymous. She did a lot of nasty things, but it's not like Hikaru's not part of that, or like he only disassociated now after everything happened. Day after day, you can message me on Discord, everybody, my server, whatever. Day after day, they've been changing their story to fit what's happening. You know, at first it was attacking people who had been wrong, and then over and over, as more people have spoken out, it's changed. Because originally they want to look like the good guys. And yeah, deleting VODs, deleting what they were saying, like, I took big exception with them striking and then lying, obviously, but it goes a lot deeper than that. So in terms of accountability and moving forward, when you talk about somebody like Hikaru, yeah, he's a chess player, he's a really good player, I like playing him. If it was just a matter of people getting salty after games, there wouldn't be as much of an issue. But he's been extremely abrasive, and I mean, trying to get people booted, and the way he handles disagreements is not okay at all. He tried to get multiple people, he's leveraged and threatened they're going to get removed from the program, they're not going to get to commentate, they're not going to get to collaborate, trying to get people to lose their sponsorships. And, fortunately in that sense, chess.com, I think, at least to their ground, the camera's shaking. I'm sorry. But the way his apology is phrased is all about this we and hyper competitive. And it's like, dude, you've been preventing people from growing. You've been gaslighting people. You've been trying to get people to lose their jobs, to lose their livelihoods. When things don't go your way, you don't just stop at, hey, I lose the game, I get upset. I do that. People are competitive. That's not what we're discussing right now. Things go a lot further than that. And so even when I look at this statement, it's like, dude, you try to take down my channel, the person you're using to gain viewers and cannibalize other people and prevent other channels from growing. All this while Hikaru was saying with a straight face for months, grow the game. When he was saying grow the game, behind the scenes, he was trying to get people canceled. When he was saying grow the game, Chessbrah was trying to fracture relationships. When he was saying grow the game, he's not growing the game. Only if you're kissing his ass. And then they were gonna gaslight people where, almost you did this thing wrong, and if you don't apologize, then you're gonna lose everything. And so it's, again, there's been certain parts of poison that have happened for years that I have some pent up feelings. There's been some personal things, but it's gonna take a very long time for me to be okay with any of this. It's just built up. I don't know what I was supposed to do. I told some chess.com people, but we were not in a situation. It was like your way or the highway. A lot of people have been afraid to speak out about this, which is why you all of a sudden have what occurred, massive public pressure, which I appreciate that people started speaking up about, hey, I mean, this toxicity has been happening for a long time. It just got pushed under the rug. And so preventing us from getting raids, hosts, opportunities in big events, relationships, I don't move on from that in a day or a week when it's been going on for years. Suppressing free speech, removing opinions when people are questioning what's happening. They had a lot of influence and power, and they used it not just for the benefit of chess. And what do you mean, don't tell us, call him? People know what they're doing. What I'm saying is, what you have right now is the result of, at the people suffered or didn't benefit as much for other people to benefit more. GGPCTU, I've read, I just showed you that Hikaru was saying he can't contact me. He's been saying it for a week. And everybody can check that I am you can easily contact me. But they've been saying that, and almost everything they've said is a lie. Even now it's a lie. It's again, so for me it's not okay. I'm just calling them out on a lie. That's it. So, and it's been done for years and years. GGPCD, what do you mean take the high road? This is something I feel like talking about, because what's the high road when people are dealing with your personal relationships, dealing with your business? What is that high road? If I didn't speak out in the first place, nothing would have happened. There's a lot of lines that have been crossed. And I just can't bottle it in. Like it's not. What do you mean by high? Like it's not okay. It's not being accounted for. There's other people that have their own stories. I'm just sharing my own experience. And some people would have viewed last year what Chessbrah did for the between Alexander and I as totally unacceptable. But it's been going on for more than that time. You can't see somebody, or you're gonna lose all of your business. Have myself and Hikaru talked recently? No, because he can message me. He hasn't tried, even though he says he has. But what he's doing is every time he goes in front of the camera, he's lying to everybody. He did that from the start of the strikes. He insulted me, brought up Alexandra, brought up my incidents, denied the strike. They had the whole public statement issued. And only over time, only after multiple people have spoken up, that the narrative's changing. It's not like this is a corporate apology, and he's not even taking a lot of things into consideration. So I hope, in terms of Hikaru, at one point he can be accountable for the fact that he's much more toxic than just over the chessboard. Because if it was just trash talk or people wanting to wrestle, I'm one of the last guys. We have an edgy channel ourselves, but he goes beyond that in trying to undermine channels. He goes beyond that in how he talks to people, and he goes beyond that in lying and then manipulating the speech. So I do have a lot of anger there, and this is a build-up because you have him and Chessbrah teaming up for an extended period of time and putting certain people down. And yeah, some people knew it was happening, some people didn't. Not a lot of people did things. Some people were afraid. Some people wanted to benefit because if they knew if they're on the good side, you know, they could control what was happening. But I've thought about this over the weekend. Like, I don't see any situation where I can be on Twitch, and Twitch, as my life has been a bit of a disaster, like in certain areas, where as long as Chessbrah has influence and she's pulling strings and manipulating and gaslighting and just like there's something. So I don't even know how to describe this. We have two strikes. We have a strike from Ali Reza's channel that nobody has accounted for. We know Chessbrah has access to that. Ali Reza and his team said they didn't do it, and you can't just give a strike randomly. So even stuff like that has messed with us, because it's like nobody's taking accountability for that. We have a strike from Ali Reza's channel, and Ali Reza is like saying we didn't do it, and so everything is like, what is this whole thing is like a movie. But when you have people in power of like multiple channels, social media, like there's cases of like Chessbrah tweeting to herself using Hikaru and other people's channel. She's the one writing the tweets to herself on other people's accounts. No, that strike's not removed yet, and nobody's accountable for it. And it's hard to just randomly strike something. And very few people have. This is YouTube, little kid. Very few people have that power. So I don't even know. That's like a different discussion. But you have people working in the shadows that it just messes with your head. So I had a lot of calls over the weekend. I had to get this stuff out. I think some of the stuff that hurt me the most is obviously with Alexandra and how we both dealt with that situation, or were put in that situation. But I do have a lot of issues with Hikaru and his lack of apology, or how he's pushed to like almost give a even when pushed, he does like give a non-apology and tries to bring up that he's competitive. We're all fierce competitors. A lot of the things he does have nothing to do with that. They're just, malicious. Trying to get people to lose their sponsorships and opportunities and jobs is not on the board. So, and I think even how, I can't speak for others, but people have issues that go beyond just like people being competitive. So there's been a lot of consequences for our channel. We've tried to just do our own thing and build what we have here, put our head down and work towards it. But I had to air some of this out. When I tried to air it out in private, it was very hard to get progress on, and we got to a point where there's just, monsters on it. like it's just like the power imbalance was too much. So how much longer was I willing to hold it in? I don't know. As time has gone on and we've been building our channel and just trying to do our own thing, like, I was going, as I said last week, I was going to say something at some point, but I needed to have some conversations and speak to some people. And yeah, and it's like, moving forward as well, like, I'm not going to be streaming as much for the next bit. I definitely need to take some alone time. Because this has been a problem I've been trying to bring up for years, and it didn't get solved. And it just hurt our channel. And, it's not easy to talk about because, we had people canceling us, and we weren't allowed in events, and there were threats and things like that. And it's like, yeah, my private life, obviously. And so I'm just haven't been in it. I've been bottling this in, and I need to take some time to reflect even more. And so that's what I want to say about the Chessbrah and Hikaru. Like, most of it I can, but it's not a situation where it's an easy fix for me in my eyes. Some people will forgive easily. I wanted to share some of my context, why I feel so strongly, why, I think I was saying last week, Hikaru was complimenting Amon while behind the scenes, doing opposite. And just how so many things because they have a bigger platform, because you have 30, 40 channels under the same moderation, because he's leveraging the fact that chess was growing, that you just didn't have a voice. And so that it doesn't have to do a physical fight or something. That physical fight, maybe it shouldn't have came out, and I can take some responsibility for that, but I was saying that almost everything is hypocritical that they're doing, the most toxic guy, the guy, everything they're saying is like, oh, I fixed myself, I'm reformed, I used to be bad. No, he's still just as bad, but him and Chessbrah tag teamed to come up, and they know how to cover it up a lot better now. And I mean, I've been doing this for 6 years, man. Like, a lot of things changed, like 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 2020, like full time, like doing everything. And one thing we're not doing is trying to mess with people's channels and lives behind the scenes. We're just doing our own thing, having a good time. I can truly say I don't think we did anything to deserve what's been happening. Yeah. Because we're not firing missiles from Discord or something. We're doing our thing here, and that's what we had to do. I fucked up last year. I was accountable for it, and I don't think it's been fair what's happened. And I felt pretty disappointed with who was available and who allowed us to get to this point. But I don't know. You can't change the past so much. But like, I need to say some of these things. Some people are forgetting, again, like Hikaru, what he did last week was pretty bad, but they just deleted the streams to take it back. And every single time they publish a statement, it's almost always been filled with lies. And then they just remove it, and then they get their mods to remove people who are complaining. And it's like, geez, like, what can you do here? Yeah, we spoke with Ali Reza about getting the strike removed. He said he was trying to do it, but somehow nobody knows how we got that strike. And so for me, as I said, like Tommy, there's no situation where, like, chess.com removing Chessbrah doesn't prevent what happened. If Chessbrah is controlling raids, streamers, paying people money, leveraging that, she can still do a lot of things. She's anonymous. and she can still do all that. So it's not okay for me just. I'm not expecting chess.com to do more, but it's not enough for me that Chessbrah is not an official chess.com mod. That shouldn't have been in place in the first place. But I mean, this person is not something someone I can coexist with on Twitch when with what they've done. And so it's not over whatsoever, the amount that's happened. So I mean, that's most of the things I wanted to say. Wild Rage, I've spoken to a lot of people, including Danny. The thing is, with behavior like this, it's hard to track. What Chessbrah and Hikaru tried to do is they tried to cover it up and blame it on us. So there's been a lot of incidents in the past where they set people up or they gaslit people, and in the end they won and got to where they got. If I didn't catch that this was manipulated and premeditated, then so people outside can't catch these things as well. So I really need to share, and that's something that Alexander and I had issues with, where I really felt strongly about it, and she was trying to be reasonable and have a medium, and I was just like, no, she's messing, like, this is not okay. So it's hard to catch. It's hard for, I don't know, maybe chess.com, maybe other people who were involved to maybe know what was happening, but when you're on, like, it was definitely a very zero-sum situation, and we were one of the channels that took the brunt of it. Not being involved in events, not being given situations. I had situations last year I was reaching out to people to collaborate with, and they said, hey man, we were sort of told not to work with you. And was it chess.com doing that? It wasn't chess.com telling people not to work with us. So even like it was a tough situation. We're still trying to climb out of that, but I just had to get that out of my chest. I just had to get it off my chest that, like, Hikaru's downplaying a lot of things. He's not taking a lot of accountability. The we thing and grow the game part, competitive part, like, he's trying to get people canceled. He's trying to prevent them to partake in events. He's done things that go far beyond just and how he treated me, even like last week, like what he was saying was, and then just deleting it and trying to cover it up and use it against me is like, that's your initial reaction. I just said that I didn't throw any stones first. I just said, hey, our channel is being struck by Hikaru's channel, and that's his reaction. It takes a lot of power and a lot of influence to lie to your audience and have it backed up like that. And it's been happening compulsively for a long time. So, obviously, again, I like playing Hikaru. If it was just trash talk or things like that, that would be one thing where you can move on and get back to playing. But I have a lot of very bottled up feelings about the whole Twitch chess situation. And it's not like blaming everything on Chessbrah remedies that. And you guys can read this as you will, but I'm giving my perspective, and that's what I wanted to share. Every time Hikaru talks, it's a lie almost. That's been the experience in the past week. And then when people challenge him, he gets upset and he tries to damage what you're doing. So obviously, like, we got a team here. We're gonna keep streaming. We have a 6-year anniversary on Friday with some special guests. But I've lost a lot of trust with many people, and it was a very long build-up to get to the point of where we are right now. So, yeah, I wanted to share some of why, like, I spoke out Wednesday. I let things play out. I spoke to quite a few people who know about what was happening or maybe had their own stories, and man, like, I'm so sick of this, but it's gone on for a long time, fucking with our channel and enabled, and a lot of people enabled it. There's a lot of people who have successful channels who did benefit too. I'm not trying to get everyone cancelled, but there were so many questions last year. Hey, what's up? Why aren't you collaborating with Alexander? Why aren't you guys in PogChamps? Or why aren't you guys in, and you know, Mon and I are just keeping our mouths shut a little bit. And it's not because Danny, who we have is saying, hey, we don't want the Chessbrahs there. We've had the longest relationship with Chess.com out of any streamer. It's like, no, Hikaru has made it very clear this person's not allowed, or this person's not allowed, or Chessbah has made it clear this person's not allowed. And yeah, so you know, it was very zero sum, and here we are. And those are just some of my experiences that I felt like I could relate to people and answer some questions that I never answered that people were asking about. So I have stronger feelings than probably a lot of people, but we have a longer history with these individuals and what's happening. And I even tried to speak out a little bit, and it's tough. It's tough. So. And I feel like I said quite a few things where it's like, some people that might not process some of them, where it's like, hey, not giving us raids and hosts for a year or manipulating that's damaging. Like, if you're newer to Twitch or not familiar, like, that's not a nice feeling. Telling people stories or trying to poach our donors or shit on us. Hey man, that adds up. Getting into relationships or having to think about changing the curtains or putting something on the walls or getting different rooms or things like that. That adds up. And being afraid to speak out against Hikaru because he wants to get you cancelled from your chess.com or from participating in tournaments, because if you speak out against him and Chessbrah are going to change the coaching for PogChamps or, you know, play favorites or whatever. Like, if you speak out or whatever, like, yeah, they're going to try to, like, not just like disagree, but get rid of you. And so there's been a cloud of fear over Twitch for a long time. And there's been some people who spoke out. Buddha's in the chat here. He's been speaking out, but you know, he's not the biggest streamer, and there's a million other people denying it and lying about it and covering it up for them. Chessbah's anonymous. Who would know that she's no longer working with Hikaru and is not fake news? Of course, she is. I've complained about her and things have happened, and then she slithers back and does the same thing. It's happened. So for me, I'm not sleeping well when I know what the person's done and what they're capable of doing, and they're all anonymous. So yeah, I mean, again, like, you have to have a certain level of power and control to be able to say, hey, you're gonna get completely cut off if you see somebody. And you know, I went in person, San Francisco. I tried to share some concerns. A lot of people maybe didn't understand me. One thing that's very tricky is Chessbrah is anonymous. Hikaru is growing viewership. It's very, very hard to pinpoint everything they're doing because there's a lot of planning and a lot of backseat, whether it's like, is it gaslighting or manipulation that was done to get to this point. A lot of people were tricked. A lot of people were tricked. A lot of people were manipulated, and maybe they were not, you know, they were well intentioned, but they didn't know what was happening. But this is why, like, I have very strong feelings about it. It's gonna take a long time for me to feel better about it, or like feel more comfortable talking about it. But whether it's Hikaru or Chessbrah, that's like, no, this is personal. This is personal has been going on. Premeditated stuff, just fucked up things. And yeah, so I didn't want to talk for too long. It would be easier to maybe post this. A statement wouldn't express my feelings, but even a YouTube video, it's like I'm sort of used to the stream and things like that. But yeah, you know, there you have it. That's what I wanted to say. And I do appreciate a lot of people reached out, players, colleagues, other people who are afraid of speaking up, or maybe had their own stories, and got to a point where I was more comfortable talking about things. And it's not, again, apologies, like, not, time has to go by, like, Chessbrah doesn't disappear overnight, and Hikaru's had a very long period of being toxic, even if he denies it, but he goes a little further than that too. There's a lot of accountability that is waiting for him, in my eyes, that's what I'm saying. It's been a lot of damage done. So that's just how I feel and some of my experiences. Yeah, I don't know. Or if people have questions or whatnot, like we've endured despite last year being kept out of a lot of things. Again, that sort of like made things a little easier to speak about, but like you have an anonymous weapon, and then you have Hikaru teamed up dictating everything, and teaming. It's just like, it's like a nightmare. That didn't disappear until I started saying something, and it's not all Chessbrah, I'll put it that way. I don't think I can ever deal with her, and I don't want her, she's a virus in my eyes, but that doesn't take away who enabled us to get here and weaponize Chessbrah. Have I read Daniel's thoughts on the matter? I have. I'm not as forgiving, or as, maybe not as forgiving, or maybe a bit more direct. But people have their own experiences, so I appreciate that Daniel spoke up, and he's a nice guy, and I've been chatting with him. I don't know if anybody else had an experience where the relationships were threatened, but Daniel's a lot more diplomatic than I am, and I think there's a place for all of that, but being diplomatic or balling it in didn't lead to anything, and I had to call out Hikaru and Chessbrah for anything to happen. Nothing would have happened without what occurred last week. Nate Adamson, it's not that what is past is past, it's like still happening, right? Like I'm talking about recent events too. It's not like I'm just bringing up stories from last year. I'm talking about things that just happened now, this week, this weekend. So what do you mean it's not? I just spoke about why it's not over. Every time I've spoken out before about Chessbrah in 2018 was the first time. And here we are in 2021. I withdrew from the tournament. I've had a shit time, but that's just me. And And yeah, so I hope over time Hikaru can take a lot more accountability and stop trying to cancel people and have these spasms where he really wants to ruin people's like chess careers, or like, you know, this guy, don't give them any events. This guy, get out of the chess.com program. And then Chessbrah, who knows? Who knows? I, you know, but it's hard to top what's happened in my experience. People have some stories I hope they're encouraged to share if it went to their private life or business. And yeah, there's just still lies being spread around about this situation, which doesn't sit well with me, whether it has to do with the apology. Hikaru, I mean, as I said, I just have a video of him today just lying again, which he's been doing all week, and then did delete the VODs. It's like, come on. He still has issues with it, and it's going to take a long time. But one day, I'd like to get back to just playing chess and not worrying about that. People can trash talk and get in fights. That would be, if that was all we had to deal with, things would be fine. And yeah, dealing with where I'm living, who I'm with, who's striking, I don't know. I'm just over it. I'm just over it. I need a break. So, yeah. What I'm describing right now is just like not even everything, but it's a stream and some of the things are for private conversations, but I'm at my edge, you know. Have I spoken with Alexandra? I have. It's just such a weird situation. It's such a fucked up situation that people feel like they can, you know, threaten and hold the collaborations and influence like that, and all while promoting grow the game, and that everything is happy behind the scenes. I think a lot of you guys thought everything was happy behind the scenes, but no, you know, there was always a cost. No, I mean, Amon had a call with Chessbrah that said almost everything said during that call was a lie. But what wasn't expected was that we would catch it, what happened, that it was a premeditated strike and it wasn't automated from bent pixels, it came directly from the team and it was planned. If that wasn't caught, none of this, we wouldn't have. So it was a very tricky situation. I mean, Band to Glory, I don't know. My relationships were affected. I feel pretty strongly about it. That's the stream title. You don't have to, if you don't want to hear it. Livelihood, relationships, it's gone on for too long. How did I know that they took down one of the videos with us? Well, we tracked it, but actually, fortunately, a lot of people, it had 200,000 views. It was just released, so I think it was like, can Eric win a game or something? I mean, I think they took a couple more out, but we were, you know, it was public. It was a public video with 200,000 views, and they were starting to remove videos before striking, and then lying about it. So it's messy, and I've been streaming for 6 years. I'm sort of past some of this drama, if I could. Dr. Kill Patient, I did deal with that situation, or I tried to. I haven't. I even addressed it earlier this stream. You know, apologies, not drinking, staying low, just, admitting full error. I addressed I've referenced it multiple times that, I don't have the cleanest hands, but I just try to make up for it. And yeah, unfortunately, a lot of streamers, nobody really spoke up until recently, and a lot of people benefited from it. So, sort of felt a bit alone there. Well, as I said, Alan, I would need a lot of time and maybe change in behavior and accountability. Because they just keep changing it to make it look like Hikaru is just too competitive. He gets angry when he loses, when he's more than that. And he's done more than that. If it was, I can always handle if we just get into fights after chess games. But the dangerous thing about Twitch and stuff is you have bigger channels, and it can be a little scary if you don't get to hear other perspectives. Especially if you're controlling like 30 channels. And yeah, we had a lot of people that stuck to the channel last year, and I think Amon and I feel really good about a lot of people who supported us during the worst times. But it wasn't because we weren't trying to grow the channel, It's been a very delicate situation for a long time. And yeah, a lot of players and people won't be able to relate to what I'm saying, so they don't say anything. It didn't happen to everybody. A lot of people were being supported by Chessbrah. So that's how you get control. If there was a lot of people to speak out, then it would have happened earlier, not after I had to go nuclear. So yeah, moving forward for myself, we have a fun 6-year stream planned this Friday. Yasser, there's gonna be Robin, there's gonna be some names. We're gonna try to celebrate what we've been doing. Well, Mr. Barzini, if the evidence was public for all these things, these are things happening behind closed doors, with ourselves, with chess.com, with people involved. And fortunately, as I said at the beginning, that there was some effort and research put into what happened with the copyright strikes, because otherwise it's very tricky to catch some of the malicious behavior or the body of lies without, they actually tried to flip it on me. I just hope people process that I withdrew from a tournament, the channel was almost cancelled, and then they started attacking me and saying I was lying and it was random and they were gonna fix it. You can keep the copy paste that Chessbrah was posting. It's like, we wish them all the best. We don't want any ill will. The same Chessbrah is posting this that's trying to prevent my relationships. Is and striking. We wish them the best. It was random. We're gonna fix it. It's psychotic. It's psychotic. And then they delete the VODs, of course. I don't know what Alexander's gonna say. You said her stream is on. Everybody has their experience. I just felt pretty bad that we were put in that situation, and that was the start of some negative, breaking some things up between us. But we'll see. I've met Chessbrah, yeah. I should talk about Lafong. There was drama between Lafong and Chessbrah. Yeah, I don't know what Alexander's gonna say, but it's been a very messy situation. So, as I said from the very beginning, this is just my perspective. my experience, and I'm a lot more like confrontational, I guess. And we have less to lose in a lot of ways, or at least I do, because we didn't gain a lot, or people who watched our channel sort of appreciated what was happening here, keeping it real, and we don't have too much to lose. This is what we do. But yeah. Can I see her comments live? I don't know what Alexander was gonna say. I always, as I said from the beginning, like, there was a point of contention between us. Because I was always anti-Chessbrah for a while, was like, this is like not healthy, or she's against us, and she's helped out a lot of channels Chessbrah have, and people have been confused. They've been confused and led on and manipulated. Mr. Barzini, not everything's going to be public. There was a statement, there were some removals, but you know what I mean? It's not... there's a lot of people who just want to keep the balance, or sort of what's happening, and not break everything down. So. But I've been speaking with yeah, quite a few people, and I have to share my case. Maybe I'll lose everything, but that's something I just have to get off my chest. So I think that's it. I said that earlier. I was answering a few questions. No, but it's gone on for a long time. And yeah. Alexandra might disagree with what I'm saying. We'll see. I don't. Yeah. It could definitely happen. We had a call beforehand, but it's something I was gonna. Alexander's super upset and said I'm creating an unfair narrative. That's fair. That's fair. I didn't say she took the money over me. I'm just saying that I got upset and then that caused issues. No, I phoned Alexandra and I told her I would speak about this over the weekend. And I said at the start of this stream that, yeah, we don't see fully eye to eye on that. But I did, just to clarify that. For me, it's like any situation where you're like being threatened with not being able to visit somebody, or you're gonna have things taken away. Yeah. I can listen in. I don't wanna. Sure. Gotta listen. I didn't say we were in a relationship. I was just saying we're visiting each other. I spoke with her, Johnny. Did you hear what I just said? We just don't see eye to eye fully. Because, like, I think Alexander has a perspective, and I said we didn't agree with everything. But even before that incident, we were doing things to change the perspective, to make sure things, you know, hey, can we make it not look like I'm here, or how's Chessbrah going to react? It's not so not still listening in. I was just addressing that. I told Johnny, I had a phone call. I told Alexander I'd share my perspectives. We had a call, and we don't see fully eye to eye over things, but yeah, I think there's a lot of I think the situation was pretty bad. I stopped the stream at the worst time. I was just trying to explain something. Okay, I'll listen. Yeah, that's Danny's challenging me to chess. As I said, yeah, we spoke over the weekend. I said I would do this stream, so I just want to clarify that, and we don't fully see eye to eye there at all. But it was no, I'm not playing chess. Okay, that's okay. Anyways, I'm gonna be taking a break. There's bigger things involved right now. But yeah, things have been complicated, and had to share some things. I I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support. I didn't say Alexandra went for the money. I said she was trying to find a middle ground and balance things. And I was sort of, more impulsive. I'm pretty sure I said that I wasn't talking about money, but we just
No,
didn't see
you
that.
said that it was the people in the chat made their own opinion,
In all of life,
which is being relayed.
there is a rhythm.
Yeah, I. Amon's gonna do Title Tuesday tomorrow. Will I touch base with Alexandra if she wants? Yeah. I mean, I just spoke with her the other day before this call, the stream, but yeah. She is mad that you said she picked Chessbrah and Hikaru over you. Did I say that today? I think I said that's what I felt at the time. I don't think I said that today. I was saying at the time I probably felt. I don't. Yeah. I was just. Yeah, it was just different. As I said, we didn't see eye to eye, but I think it's probably what the chat was reacting, because over time I've thought about this and we had a call where it's like, I understand there's more sides to the story and I tried to represent it as such. She's just saying you seem to be implying it. I hope people didn't take it like that. I even had a call with her where I said, look, I understand your perspective more now, but I wasn't trying to imply that. I wasn't trying to imply that. I was trying to imply that it was a tricky situation because there's a lot of growth. Things were very busy on Twitch. Hikaru had a lot of leverage, and that it was just put her in a tough spot.
In all of life, there is a rhythm. In all of life, there is a rhythm. In all of life.
So if she wants to clear the air, that of course that's totally fine, but I hope most people didn't get that perspective. As I said, that's why I phoned her beforehand. I'm not trying to misrepresent it. Otherwise, I would have given her heads up and tried to clarify beforehand. Anyways, I can be done for now. I just want to say some things. I can even rate her so people listen. But yeah, we had disagreements over that. She's talking about the relationship. No, I mean, when I mean seeing each other, I mean physically. Like, I was in New York, she came to Calgary, vice versa, back and forth. Like, literally seeing each other. I'm not trying to put a label on something, but you know, she wasn't here to stream. I wasn't in New York to stream, type of thing, and everyone knows that. But it just made things complicated. And I view things more strongly than most people about it. Anyways, I'm done for now. I should be here on Friday during the 6-year anniversary stream. And I appreciate the support. Amon's gonna do Title Tuesday tomorrow. I can rate Alexandra. Just be respectful. I said from the very beginning it was putting us in a tough position, and it's not. I'm not trying to blame. I think that environment that we were in made it harder, and I don't have clean hands and things like that, but it was a very stressful. We've had a million arguments about it. So just be respectful. People are sharing their perspectives, and you guys were pretty respectful when I was. But that's why I'm not really okay with how things are right now, man.